Hi everyone, and welcome to this episode of Culture of Paint. On tonight's show, we're going to be taking a look at what's caught our eye over the last couple of weeks in the miniatures painting world. For our main topic, we're going to take a look back over 2021 and pick out a bunch of our personal favourite paint jobs and releases. And then we'll close out the show, as usual, taking a look at what the hashtag paint cultists have been up to. Our Culture of Paint is aimed at a mature audience, and we might use explicit language and discuss adult themes. Now let's talk about paint. Okay, and we are back on. Have we got everything running? We have. Right, good evening, everyone. Welcome to this episode. We're doing this show as a pre-record so that we can try and stick to a vague schedule and get this one out to you guys in that little lull between Christmas and New Year. But we have got the Patreon guys in the chat to sort of keep us company and ask us questions if they're in there. A little bit short notice for them, but I'm sure we've got a few people to natter to. No idea how long the show's going to take tonight, but we'll try and stick on the sort of hour and a half schedule. I'm joined as ever by Matt, Andy and Rich, or Santa, I guess.
Merry Christmas!
Great effort, mate. We did, in fairness, we did all talk about getting dressed up and doing things, and then...
Yeah, but I was the only fucker that did it.
I know, well done, mate. You did.
I wouldn't have done it
on
anyway.
purpose.
That was literally the point. The point was to stitch Andy up. The three of us had all been Christmas.
You're right. You are right. I was just gutted after I had to send Christmas squig back, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, and now I'm the only dickhead that looks like this.
Hang on, have you got a Christmas bauble earring?
Yeah, I've got earrings in. All
the effort is it?
When this comes off, because it's fucking really hot, you'll see them.
What's your jumper? Is it a nerd one, or is it just a classic, just a disgusting Christmas jumper?
El Clasico. I ordered a nerd one, but it hasn't turned up yet. Yeah, it's a cardigan.
Makes it so much worse.
I know, right?
Brilliant. It's beautiful. James asking, is this Cult Paint Christmas do? It is now, James. You know, wherever Santa is, it's Christmas, I guess. And yeah, as Whale Tusser says, it's a shame Rich can't be here, but always nice to have Santa there. Right, enough of that. Let's crack on. What's caught our eye over the last couple of weeks? Let's get those slides.
Models.
Models.
First
miniature
is my one.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
I think this is possibly the best skink ever.
Where's it
It's
from,
amazing.
Where's the Blood Bowl?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
It's got its little...
I was going to pick this as well, but I didn't know because it had no base. Am I allowed? But yeah, I agree. I absolutely love it. The eye, obviously, is eye-catching.
I love the black and the yellow bit in the frilly bit. It's all the little stipple dots. It's great. Very
It's a really fantastic set, isn't it? That Lizardman Blood Bowl team, and they've just brought out a brilliant. What's the big lads called? Croxigors.
So good. Oh, Croxigors.
I haven't looked at these. I think I need to.
Oh, they're lovely, mate.
The kits are amazing.
Yeah.
Overall, they're just the quality of the sculpting is fantastic.
You can tell they're having a lot of fun with them as well, can't you? Like it's that, you know, you haven't got to look like anything else GW do. Just do Blood Bowl, make it silly. I noticed that tree man with the squirrel in Acorn the squirrel. I noticed that was in the
squirrel with a tree attached to it.
Yeah, it was in the sort of best miniatures of the year rundown that I noticed on Warhammer Community today. Nice pick, man.
He says
I
he's
love
got
that.
a few more on the go, I think he said, and I messaged him and I said, do a squad for GD.
I was just thinking that would be a shoe in, wouldn't it, if he drops that in GD?
Yeah.
Too easy.
It's done really well. Right. So
very nice. I think we've had skinks feature certainly a few times over this year.
They're growing on me.
It's good to know.
They're a good range.
Oh, mate, if they redo the normal lizards and the skinks, then that's a stunning looking range of minis. Then
they could be. Let's rephrase that.
They will be.
They will be. Yeah.
Live hopefully.
Yeah. I love the Underworld one, but that's just 7, isn't it? 6. Not enough. Anyway.
Good warband, that.
So
is it?
It is. It's a really fun one. Me and Andrew were playing it a bit at the weekend, and he's done a fantastic job on the painting.
Are they all fun? Like, are all the warbands fun to play?
No.
Are they not?
The Nurgle are terrible.
And is that because they're just a bit crap, or they're just a bit boring?
Both crap and boring.
Really, that's a shame.
Yeah, some are very like hit and miss. Like orcs that I play with either do really well or abysmal.
Well, that's cool. It's fun. I like that. Yeah.
But the lizards have got they're newer, so they've got a really interesting dynamic with the way that they play and stuff. So yeah, they're a fun warband.
I'm just thinking it because other than one that I can think of, I won't say which one. I'd say all of the warbands are a really nice set of minis, and I think it's always nice if you're going to spend that little bit of time to paint. It's always nice if they're at least vaguely entertaining.
Oh,
that's the problem with some of them. Like, the Daughters of Cain were rubbish to use, and the Nurgle aren't very. They don't have to be strong to be fun, but they have to have a chance. And I've lost games scoring nothing with the lizards, and then scoring really high and absolutely totally obliterating. So that it's nice if you can do that, but some you just can't win because they're so crap. So
that's a shame. That's a
shame. But the lizards are good.
But there's no sign of that train stopping, is there? Underworld.
Hope not.
I reckon the 5th might be the last season. Was a vicious rumor.
We're on the what now? 4th.
4. Yeah.
I can dig that. That's a 3-4 year cycle. That's pretty good, really. Isn't it? Anyway, enough about gaming. It's not just about painting show. Good pick, Matt. What's up next?
Next up.
I had a couple of picks this week.
You do,
because you lot keep doing that, so I thought I would. I think. We've seen a lot over the years of people trying to do versions of Custodes, or even using Stormcast models to make 40k stuff.
I
think that the new Stormcast with the better proportions.
Yeah,
I think all of a sudden this works for me.
Like it hasn't until now.
It's just, I agree. I completely agree. It hasn't till now, but for me, I prefer these to the Custodes minis, and I think it's just the proportions. It's just and I'm sort of I've been building that Black Templars squad over the last few weeks, and just thinking it's time to. We talked about it a few episodes ago. Sort of those little projects you've got in your mind that you've procrastinated over for ages because you want to paint them to your best of your ability, and therefore they never get done. So I think I quite like to sit down and go, no, do you know what? They're going to get done, but they're going to be done to a different level. And this has really inspired me to go, do you know what? I have got those 3 lads from the Dominion box that I'm not going to do anything with. I wonder if I could have a fiddle around. I think they'd fit in quite nicely. But that was it really. Just this is the best execution I've seen of this sort of Stormcast 40k mashup.
Yeah, I really don't like it. I really don't like Stormcasters Marines, but these are great.
It works, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So big fan.
The one on the left I could just paint on
that one on the left, that's the base model for that is still hands down my favorite Stormcast model they've done. There's just something really heroic about him, isn't there? Flagman.
It's the best.
Maybe I'll just do one using him or something.
That's what I want to do, is do a lot more one-off models.
Definitely. I'll let's see how we get on in 12 months. If I've got a lovely little collection of the sort of stuff we talked about, you never know, do you? And then I had one more pick, Matt, which is an account that I have spoken about before, Pegastix. I follow Laura on Twitter mainly, but she's on Instagram. Just one of those hobbyists that every conversion she does, I love it. It really jives with how I imagine the universe, the various settings. And this was just this freaky Scarab Prince, I think this one's called.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, just
so many kits,
right?
Like, I hope GW sending you them.
That's I mean, it's absolutely rad.
That drone is so big, isn't it? The Blackstone 40 looks so cool as a head. That's mad.
Very cool.
Actually, she's used the drone, because there's a few different sizes of them. She's used them in a few other conversions and stuff. But yeah, if you like that sort of grimdark take on things, I use that as a very broad title, then definitely this is an account to follow. Some really unique takes, and it's a shame it's not painted because she's got a very cool paint style as well.
Nice.
Really fits the models. She does. So yeah, so that's my couple of picks.
Nice one, bruv.
So next up is
got to be picked, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I'm really into vampires this week. I bought my first vampires, and this popped up, and I was like, that's quite nice. I like the conversion a lot. It's cooler without the metal hand. And also, that's one of the best sword sculpts they've ever done. And
isn't it? It's off the zombie dragon, isn't it? Is that right?
Yeah. Such a good sculpt. Yeah, it's one of the coolest shaped
and
things.
the shield.
Yeah. And the head?
Yeah, where's the head? Is that head from the same kit, is it?
Sure it
is.
Yeah,
pretty sure it's zombie dragon.
But this is our man Dave from Down Under. Yeah. I mean, everything he touches looks immense, doesn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, there you go. Say no more. There you go. Dave, cheers. Next model.
He does those hyper close-ups at the moment, and it's just they still hold up, but it's crazy.
Yeah. You know that face, Will, don't you? Just looking at it. But I think we said it before, isn't it? Dave's very, very good at painting. How to phrase it? I think Andy phrases it better, but generally spending the time where it matters on a model. But rather than doing that from like an army painting point of view, like Dave does it from a display model point of view, right?
I also appreciate that he does the close-ups because one, they're very honest, and also they're very educational because there's people can upload a photo at a low resolution and it means you can't zoom in and see any blending and it looks really smooth. And I've seen some photos that are just such a low resolution and it looks so smooth because you can't see it. But he puts them up really high up resolution. You can see every line, every dot, and it demystifies what he's done. And it doesn't take away from any of the painting. It's just you can go, okay, he's layered this up, he's done this, he's done that. And I think that's really cool. And if you're uploading your photos in low resolution, then sort it out.
Yeah, it's nice to see undoctored images for sure.
Yeah,
but he's our man Dave. You know, if you've watched more than about 3 episodes of this show, you've probably seen us talk about one of his paint jobs. Really looking forward to seeing what he's going to do next year as well. So I think we've got you, Rich. One more,
just me. Yay! So this is by Lunax77. He's an American guy who does like true scale big stuff, basically. But not like I like bigger marines to look a bit more true scale. This is like big marines. So like Primark, every marine's like Primark size.
Oh wow, right. Oh, a bit like that Project Migs did a few years ago.
But, yeah, very similar to that. So this caught my eye just because you know what I love a walker.
Bring back Ironclads. Hashtag.
Yeah. I love a walker. Dreadnoughts being at the top of that list, and Ironclad Dreadnoughts being pretty much at the top of that list.
Yeah.
So I picked this because one, I love the paint job he's done. It's very Iron Hands, very dark, grim dark style, but also it's massive.
It's ginormous, right? Those are
because that's the Leviathan Storm Cannon siege drill. So that's bigger than a Leviathan and a Redemptor. So it's a 3D printed model, which is a bit controversial as it's obviously an Ironclad, but a good talking point for sure. But I just loved it. I saw it instantly, and it's one of the first things in a long time I saw it. I just went, I want one. I want one now. So that's why
it's spot on. I do really enjoy those. What's the word? Is it large scale, biggerized? I love a well done, biggerized marine project.
Yes. Because they are admittedly few and far between.
They are very much few and far between.
Just like Stormcast Marines.
It was basically. I had a nice little chat the other day. I forget what it was. I was on the Varangian podcast and we were talking about the old true scale Marine used to be just stick a power on the torso on a Terminator legs and call it true scale. Yeah. You know, there's a few. There's sort of a few different versions of that still knocking around.
The worst, man. Mid 2000s.
I tell you what I always like about when they do the biggerized Marines is that you can always use the original helmets and heads, can't you? And it completely changes, doesn't it? How they look, because all of a sudden they're in scale.
Yeah,
and I get it. I get it. You know, heads are bigger, weapons are bigger. It's you know, it's deliberate. I understand that, but it is cool to see it.
I've been looking at a lot of slightly bigger marines, Primaris marines, and other bits and pieces at the moment lately. And again, like you said, using the regular helmets and regular shoulder pads. But I then went back and looked at a regular little marine with those same shoulder pads and heads on it. It looks ridiculous.
Well, before we fall down the mini marine rabbit hole that we've talked about many times on the show, have we got any memes, or are we going to just dive in? We do.
Meme.
We have a meme.
Meme. What have we got?
Meme.
No. Yeah. So, yeah, this is one of the many takes I've seen on this the Space Marine 2 video game. There's one where they make him sing. Have you seen that? There's some app where you can animate it and make the person sing. Yeah, John Prescott there.
It's been a hard few years for old Captain Titus.
To Titus.
Is this a British joke though?
I got his. Yeah.
It's
pretty. I mean, that is next level, isn't it? Sort of shithousery with the. That's just it. I get it. It's an app, right? It's fairly low effort. You just plug it in and it does it for you. But still, like that technology, yeah, it's going
too much for me.
It's going to be brutal.
It's too deep good,
fakes.
Isn't it?
That's it. Deep fakes. That's the word. Yeah, I've seen a good one with Dawn, actually, a deep fake. Talking about something. Yeah, very nice. Good stuff. Right, let's jump into the main topic because I think it might end up being quite long, but we'll see. Best of 2021. Woo! So it's been a year since we did our pilot show, which was our favourite paint jobs of 2020. So it's quite nice to do 20 episodes later. We're going to do our favourite paint jobs of 2021 and a few sort of cheeky little favourite sort of sculpts and things as well. We've sort of trawled through things we've had on the show and obviously all our own accounts and stuff, and we sort of dug up what we think as a group are in our opinion the very best sort of examples of what's out there over the last year, and then we've also got a couple of personal faves which might not always be everyone's cup of tea, but I think we may as well just dive straight into it.
So first up,
great choice.
I mean, is it the sculpt of the year? Yeah.
Well, I think it's certainly arguably right the hottest traditional miniature sculptor currently working, right? And arguably his coolest over the last 12 months, 18 months. I don't know whether it's because it's a little different to some of the stuff we've seen as well, or whether maybe it's not different at all. Maybe it's gone back to that wonderful face that he can do, with the character.
Screams pure proper fantasy.
Yeah,
like it just hits every point.
Yeah,
you're waiting for it to mouth to open it to be in the next episode, series of Dark Crystal or something, right?
It's Labyrinth. Yeah, isn't it?
Yeah, I can literally hear David Bowie singing around in the background.
But I just his faces are just insane.
Yeah, they really are. I love the whips. The best thing he posts whips with the squidges of pink putty and what now? It's just the best. Here's a question for you, Henry. If you had one, would you paint it?
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
No,
mine's in my cabinet waiting.
I'm not someone. I'm not a collector like that. I used to play guitar and stuff like that. If I had a big posh guitar, it's getting played. It's not there to hang on the wall. For me, it's the same with miniatures.
These do get played though.
Yeah, that wasn't a dig, Matt, I promise. So, but it's I think when we had Mark Gibbons on, didn't we? He mentioned he collected sculpts for the sake of collecting sculpts, which is cool. Don't get me wrong. There's nothing wrong with it. But yeah, I would absolutely want to. This is his first since the Witches that I've really gone, fuck, I ought to get this and paint. Like, yeah.
Did you though?
Even if it's just for the little critter on his shoulder.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah. That, and this of course is Lucas Pina, which you can't buy now because it's obviously that you've missed your slot. But if you like what you see, follow his account. What would you say? Four times a year, something like that?
Yeah, it looks to be about every quarter.
Yeah. there'll be something out, and Lucas will do a limited time where you can purchase it, and then they'll get cast up
for like 48 hours, and then that's it.
And then that's it. But yeah, lovely, and great to kick off best paint jobs of the year with this sculpt.
Next
all
up
down
is...
Ooh, that's me. I don't know.
Here's a familiar name.
Yeah.
This is just mental. I don't know about you boys, but I look at models every single day, and I've done that for many, many years. And even if something's fantastic, it's hard for something to make me go, yeah, all right. Yeah, that looks bonkers. And this
so what is it? Come on, take us through then. What is it that's just had that impact on you then? We've got someone who consistently, again, arguably one of the top 5 painters in the world over the last 5, 6, 7 plus years. Yeah, every piece he produces is obviously top tier. What is it about this one that's made you go, Jesus Christ?
I think one thing that's interesting is how many colours are on there, but there's still a focal point, which is the torso. And that's because that's illuminated more than the rest. And it's one of the most desaturated colours, that skin, but you're still drawn to it, aren't you, because of all the values. And you've got that cushion, which is covered in freehand, which is bonkers, absolutely bonkers, but it really doesn't distract. Crazy atmosphere, absolutely horrific. I mean, it's just everything on it is amazing, really, isn't it?
Yeah, the lighting and the colours on the cushions is quite remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah,
I find this piece quite intimidating because for me, there's very few pieces now that you look at, because you not to say that I could do them anyway, but I understand a lot of them. You look at it and you go, okay, cool, that's amazing. I get how that's been done. And obviously, I understand that how this has been painted, but it's just it's intimidating in the level of detail and just how good it is, and the way that
the vision, right? The vision as well, because this is not a small piece, right?
No,
like
it's Patrick Mason sculpt as well.
Nowhere to even start on this.
Yeah,
I mean, imagine getting like 2/3 of the way through one of them cushions and going, nah, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I'd imagine seeing that next to like one that's just been like Zenith.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even know how to start putting the freehand on those cushions because of all the folds and the perspective.
Yeah.
And I don't. Yeah, I can do it.
I want to know if the shadow under that knife on the right. I want to know if that shadow is actually painted on, or if that's just...
yeah. Where the cushion looks like it goes vertical, right, and then creases out. Yeah,
it.
Remind me, was it Kirill that did the NMM a few years ago with the reflections of trees and stuff in a helmet? Yeah. So it's nice, isn't it, to have someone in the community that, in fact, I think we even said it a few episodes ago, who can still produce the shocking, like, I didn't realize there was another level.
Yes, correct.
For it to go. That's
It's the right leg for me. The knee is so realistic, and it's bloody yellow and pink. It's like, oh my god. Yeah, I'd love to see this in real life, actually.
It reminds me of, like, the old style, like, Conan artwork.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like not Simon Bisley, but like that kind of really like 80s, 90s style, really colourful, high fantasy artwork, but in 3D. But then it looks like a painting
as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like just the sculpting. I think it's Patrick Mason, and it's a traditional sculpt as well. So it's yeah.
Always in the chat, always nice when a throw cushion is better painted than anything I've ever done. Don't worry.
It's the same.
That applies to 99% of the rest.
So, no, with there. This, mate. He's on his own. This guy, literally on his own, isn't he?
That's a cracking pick, mate.
Yeah.
Nice. So, next up is.
Oh, I did wonder if this would sneak in. I thought this might have come under your personal fave.
Who, me or Matt?
You.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I thought we'd share it now before we get the official Fugan next week. Right?
Fair. Well, I was like, it's an Eldar. It's one of the coolest Phoenix Lords. And correct me if I'm wrong, it was one of your a painter who had a huge influence on you early on when you wanted to get into sort of competitive painting, right?
I still think, like the shiny, clean style is still awesome to look at, isn't it?
Yeah.
And not many people are doing it now. It was like
which I think makes it more impactful, right?
Yeah, and do you know what? I still think I struggle to paint it something this clean and this good. It's just like I still really admire that look, and Gareth's just got it down. And it's a shame we don't see many paint jobs from him. But he doesn't post anything for a year, and then he whacks this on, and it's quite nice. So if he does one of these once a year, then that's fine. So
too busy sculpting cool little 10mm fantasy models.
I think that's the cool thing also, is he actually sculpted this as well as painted it.
Yeah.
Double threat.
You can imagine this in a sort of early noughties or late 90s, early noughties White Dwarf, where they specifically made, like, remember when Mike Anderson did it? He sculpted like a large scale Empire soldier and painted it to an insane level, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, it's the true Renaissance like hobbyist. But you can just everything about it, the way it's that heavy metal clean style taken to the nth degree, but the way it's photographed, everything about it to me just screams like White Dwarf article interview with the this is Gareth, he works in our packaging department and just happens to
this is one of the last thing he posted this year as well, and it's done in February.
Really?
He hasn't posted anything since.
God, I wonder what he's working on.
I was say sculpting, isn't it? 3D sculpting tiny things.
Good, isn't it?
Maybe he'll come out woodwork if we get a GD next year.
Great use of the tactical rock as well.
Oh yeah, tactical wraithbone
and the back.
Yeah, there was I saw a really good thread earlier. It was the tactical rocks of 2021.
Yeah, it's fair. It's a fair point. They're definitely getting more elaborate. Kragnoff, surely. I mean, that's got to be
That's a tactical cliff, mate. I don't count.
Yeah, I don't think that counts.
Lovely pick, mate. And yes, as you say, exciting to think we might be seeing an absolute deluge of Eldar models. And I think Eldar often bring out the clean painters, definitely, and the high-end painters, right?
Yeah.
It's something that seems to appeal to them.
Beautiful.
Yeah, lovely stuff. Right.
Next up.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Who's picked this one?
Me.
Go on, talk away.
It's really good, isn't it?
It is.
The
lighting in particular, right?
I'll tell you a story, and and people might relate to this. But I thought, oh my god, it's amazing! I want to buy the bust. And then I looked at the picture of the bust with no paint, and I went, no, it's the paint job. I can't make it look good. It's this guy. And you realise you're in love with the paint job, not the sculpt. And the reason it's beautiful is I've never seen. Actually, I have seen another miniature, but he did it as well. But the whole model's engulfed in light.
Yeah.
You get stuff that's got a light source, OSL, blah, blah, blah. But this is just like, okay, it's just covered in this warm sunset, whatever light. And I think it really works. And the backdrop adds to it. It's not cheesy. It just justifies why she's this color. Because I think without the backdrop, you'd sort of understand it for sure. But it definitely adds to it. So not much more to say, really. Quite interested in what
as well.
Yeah, Ruben's signature moves.
Very,
it's just
sort of Joan of Arc celestial, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the lighting. It's the sun. It's the sunshine. This would be a wonderful miniature to present when you're talking about minis being a legitimate art form. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I love the backdrop.
It's just it's so nice.
Those clouds are beautiful.
Oh, so nice to look at, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love it. I want to own it. It's great.
And I bet you he did it in like a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know,
it really is. It's quite something. I'd not seen this one like this.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm not paying a lot of attention to anything at the minute, but I don't always pay a huge amount of attention to the sort of busts and larger scale stuff as you certainly as you do. Largely because I think on the whole I tend to prefer my stuff fantasy. And a lot of the better busts and things are often quite a realistic subject, if that makes sense. They're usually a human, right, in some description. And I get this is fancy and stuff, but you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it's just lazy.
It's just the face as well, like the lighting in general, but the glove and the face.
Unreal.
It's just brilliant. And I tell you what, I'd love to look at the palette before he started painting this. Do you know what I mean? It just would have been really, really exciting, I think, to see. You know, you'd see because occasionally we talk about using a color as a highlight, right? Or an off-white as a highlight. Maybe your ice yellow you were a big fan of for a long time, right? To add a little bit of something and all the rest of it. But to go in and basically use bright primary yellow, yeah, like you say, that chimera yellow, whatever is behind me here, and you go, right, this is what I'm going to highlight. Basically every color on this model with. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Love it. Well done, Ruben. He did some other bangers as well. I couldn't decide. There was a few I was picking between, and I went for this one in the end. But everything he's done this year has been absolute gold. So
lovely stuff. Good choice, mate.
No problem.
Okay, Matt.
So next up,
what we got? Yes. This was probably my pick of the year. If I had to do if we were going pure on like what's the paint job that's sort of really blown you away.
Agree.
I think
I probably agree with you on that one as well.
Paint job of the year.
And Mark, you know, we've spoken before with Mark. You'll often have nothing for a month or two, and then you'll see a bunch of his pieces come out. A lot of the time, I believe that's because it's box art for other people, right? And recent, but I don't know. This one this is my favourite he's done since he did that amazing, the one that looked like the oil painting with the like sailor and the
that was last
which I think we featured on last year's. Yeah. So and this I think is my favourite, and that was probably my favourite of last year's. So yeah,
the face is unreal. Like I we looked at Kirill's work, but I still stand by Mark's the best at female faces. I think he's unbeatable in female faces. And he put whips up for this. I don't know if you saw, Henry, but they're hilarious to look at.
Oh, it's the classic heavy metal stage 4 stages, right? Yeah, paint the fucking owl. Yeah,
he has to be trolling.
Yeah.
I saw a more elaborate meme from Paint the Owl. Which was like a 5-step one, which is actually super accurate. It's like paint the legs, paint the eyes, paint this, and it looks like a crappy stick horse. And then it's like, now just add details. Boom. Add a couple freckles. Oh. Yeah. But yeah, I was going to pick this as my paint job of the year, but I thought I should not pick a Mark paint job for once. But I do agree with you. This is probably the best. And I think also because the opposite of what you just said, you prefer the more fantasy stuff. I think it is quite real world, and I quite like.
It's a lovely piece, yeah, absolutely, and I think quite an unusual piece for busts, right? Yeah, really.
I like showing this to non-hobbyists actually. If they sort of like want to say, what's like a amazing thing, or they are just asking about the hobby. I say, this it's proper painting.
Mark's still working purely in acrylics.
Yeah.
This would be a nice. I bet you some collector owns this already.
Well, I think it's a Black Crow box art.
Oh, is it? Oh, fair play.
Yeah, it's Black Crow.
I do want to see this. One of the pieces I saw this year that I desperately would like to see this in real life.
Yeah.
When you do box arts, when people do box arts, does that box art generally go to the producer?
Well, in an upcoming Culture Paint video, what's it like to paint a box art for a company?
Teed you up there, mate.
We'll talk about it. But I think sometimes they just pay for the pictures. But then, sometimes they take the model. Sometimes a collector might be having it and they just want the photos. Because we still haven't got some of our box arts.
We haven't got
we will
any of them, have we? Yeah, other than yours. Mind you, we've had a bit of a, global pandemic to deal with from that point.
Well, I think actually, if we had shows, we'd have collected from them.
Yeah, exactly. You ain't sticking this on DHL or whatever.
International Post.
And they're the better ones, yeah. Wait for Hermes to punt this over your fucking front guard.
left right side of door.
Yeah, they'll send you that photo delivered, a blurry box on the fucking doorstep.
But yeah, lovely.
Not any of us are bitter about it or anything.
No, not at all, right? Okay, what's up next?
Next up.
Yay, our man again.
Dave from Down Under.
So this is Bird with Dwarf and Sheep or something. But it's Dave Colwell. Dave entered this in the Miniatures Painting Open that we put on back in summer. And
best competition this year.
This is hands down. But this is where the larger scale stuff and the bust stuff. This is where it does tickle my balls. I mean, what more? I think it's talk about pieces that suit the painter. And Dave's always got that. I think it's because he does a lot of stippling, right? He's lovely, soft. Yeah, these soft things, and it just The
sheep face is the one, mate. That needs to be textured though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's not compulsory you paint things with texture, but the sheepy face. I mean, even the ear's wonderful.
Yeah.
So uncomplicated in a way, but it's just right, isn't it? The touch of pink at the end, I
think that's a really good way of describing Dave's painting, isn't it? Is that I think it's very easy to look at.
Yeah.
I think as a casual, and I consider myself a casual when it comes to high-end painting, right? Looking at high-end painting anyway. I like it or I don't like it. I don't tend to try and analyze them. But if I do analyze it now, I think it's very easy to look at, and then you do look closer. And as you say, he posts close-ups so often that you can suddenly appreciate just the sheer amount of work that's gone into giving a very simple or clean. Yeah, those aren't the right words.
It's
just a very pleasing sort of look to a miniature.
Yeah, but even the orange, if you look at the shirt over just the belly. It's not overly rendered, and you look at it as a total thing, and you can see on the left the dark red shading, slightly more yellow in the upper belly, but it's it's just not overly done, right? Because I think it's easy to be like, oh, I need to do stuff on this, I need to make it.
Yeah, and that's a sign of someone who's very confident, right, in their art. Is knowing what not to do, right, knowing when to stop.
Yeah, even the trouser leg, it's brown. It doesn't need to be more. It takes away from a piece if you overcomplicate things sometimes, doesn't it? And then this is just so nice to look at. But then he's really illuminated the helmet and the head as a focal, and
the bird. The bird's got a little extra light on it, hasn't it?
Just right choices, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, this is one of those. I'm not a collector of pieces, but this one would certainly be. Yeah. I wouldn't be mad if that was sat on the shelf.
Yeah.
to enjoy. And it's a dwarf, and dwarves are rad.
Make one, mate.
I know. Coming soon. Dagar 2. Right, what's the next slide?
Next up is...
Fuck. No, maybe this was the paint job of the year. Damn it. We've just lost Rich's sound, by the way, guys, so he'll be back with us in a minute. Santa's sound, rather.
It's probably
another heavyweight from Europe.
Yeah.
I'm really gutted this didn't make it into a competition.
Yeah. Well, he eventually showed it, right? He'd held it back because it's based on a piece of artwork from 4.5 years ago.
It's out of date now. It's a new Stormcast. It's gone.
This caused quite a stir, didn't it, when he posted it up? And obviously because it's one of those pieces that, because of the IP, it crosses over the two sort of crowds, right? The larger scale and the 28mm crowd.
Yeah, it's really cool. It is a shame that it didn't get entered at the time, and do you almost think I wish he'd held it back? You know?
Yeah.
How do you guys think it would do in comp?
At GD, honestly,
I think it would do
not that great.
No, I don't think it would place.
Not at GD. No, I don't think it would either.
It's only got one category it's allowed in, and you're up against Max, Darren.
Yeah, to be fair, I hadn't even considered GD actually as something it would have been entered in. I think I was picturing this much more at the sort of big shows.
Well, it's David, so yeah, he'll go and he'll be with his other pieces, and he's at gold level, so it'll just.
I think
but will it get a special prize? That's the difference.
I think on the post when he posted it, he did say it was for a GD.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think he only posted it because I think it had to go to a collector, the person who actually bought it, and so I think they wanted it.
Yeah, it's a shame. I almost think there's at some point they might need to do a new category for Golden Demon, because this can't win a Slayer sword because it can only go in open, and you're going against the staff.
Do you think though, if it was able to win a Slayer sword, it would, or would there be?
Why are you saying it's not able to win the sword?
Because you can't in open.
Right.
Because that stops staff getting the Slayer sword.
Right.
So, yeah.
Do you think though, if it wasn't a category that it could win a sword in, it would win a sword?
I don't know if they'd want to, because, and I've got no cynical viewpoint. Like, people say weird things like, oh, they pick the newest models to win because it sells more. No. But would they really want like a sculpt, like this 3D printed sculpt to win?
I mean, they have before, but what I've noticed
before this era of 3D printing, though, easy distribution.
Maybe not there, but it's a weird one at the moment. But like previous 3D prints, they have some have won, but they have never been printed in White Dwarf, and they're not on the Golden Demon official website.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I've got some stuff that's Games Workshop IP. It's big scale like this. I've kept it secret because I want to keep it secret until shows. But I am doing it for other shows. It's not for Golden Demon because I don't want to get my heart broken, because I could paint it amazing, do the best thing ever, and maybe get a bronze or nothing in the open category.
Yeah.
And that's cool. It's absolutely cool. I love Golden Demon. I want to do Games Workshop models for that. So it is interesting though, because Golden Demon hasn't been on since 2019, and
probably isn't going to be on till 23.
Anyway, that's another episode. But what can they do with all these extra 3D sculpts and stuff? Like, how can they adapt to that? Keep it fair to competitors, and I think they're within their right to, not give stuff that's an STL available or win.
Oh yeah. It's a shame that they aren't able to recognise it in a way, right?
I think they will at some point. Like Andy said, at some point they're going to have to, because, every now and then in the last few years, something not like this, but something that was like custom made would pop up at a GD. But the more and more access that people have to 3D printers, and the more and more people are making their own versions of stuff, they're going to have to address it at some point.
We've touched on this, haven't we? And I think we said we're going to do an episode on it, but we've spoken in the past sort of how is it any different if I 3D sculpt something than traditionally sculpt something, right? And I think that applies right the way from, I sculpt a head for a space wolf rather than green stuff a beard onto him. Right the way up to something like this.
That's where the problem is for them, right? Because if say you sculpt something from scratch, traditional or 3D, it's almost like, are you going to distribute it? Because if you're not, it's cool. But if you are, then it's not. So say this got entered and they gave it a gold award, whatever. Yeah, brilliant. It got gold. And they're like, STL available now. And they sell it. Then that's really bad. So it's
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just what can they do?
Someone's saying in the chat that they'd love it if they put out busts. Years ago, probably over 10 years ago, Forge World had maybe like 5 to 10 busts over a time period of time. They sadly they went away a long time ago now, but they did do them. I mean, that would be a real. I mean, I get that it doesn't really answer what we're talking about because, again, that's an official bust, and this will be an unofficial one. But yeah, it's going to have to be addressed at some point, right?
I don't see why they look at someone like Alejandro, who sculpts for us. He's doing stuff for us right now. Just go cool. Do some large scale GW stuff. Like how would if this was sold on the Games Workshop website, even Forge World in resin, like they're gonna make a profit on it, right? It's just like we're ready for it.
It's a niche though. I think that's probably where it may sell a lot, or it may not, but it's probably too few people in their minds to make it viable.
Yeah.
But then that's what Forge World is for.
Well, was for.
I don't think it would be that niche anymore. I think that if they were this level, because it's all about how good they are, right? If it's a Stormcast, a Blood Angel, look at those action figures, which are pretty crap, and people repaint them. Like this is properly sculpted, not like a toy. So I do agree on the scale of things. They're not going to make a plastic kit, but is it a good way to combat this stuff happening? I don't know. They only need one sculptor like Alex here. Just hire him. Knock us out a bust a month, mate.
Yeah. Hopefully they do it. I hope they do.
Me too. Exciting, right? And hopefully we're around to chat about it when it happens. But yeah, back to this paint job.
Stirred up some chat, didn't it?
Lovely texture. Hey.
Yeah.
Especially on his it's on his bib.
We almost had a whole episode topic.
Right, let's move on to the next one if we can,
This
Matt.
is the last one.
Oh, nice. So another cracking paint job. This is the saga of Baz's year, I think. This one, isn't it?
He has killed it this year, hasn't he? He has absolutely smashed it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one's been long anticipated. I think his take on Dante.
Best Dante ever.
There's only two, isn't there, mate? Yeah.
It's just again, I suppose it's what we spoke about a minute ago with knowing what to leave off with the paint. I think Barry's very good at knowing what to leave off when he sculpts.
Yeah.
And,
I find his stuff often looks, what's the word, official. If that makes sense. Like he's sympathetic to the style of their sculpt as well, right?
I think he's grown up with that world, and I think that he's very much a fan of it. He's just Dante's quite old, and why have they not redone?
Quite old.
Why have they not redone Dante?
There's people that come on our painting classes that are younger than that sculpt.
Why have they not redone Dante? Why?
They've got to upscale everything now and get it fitting into
the
lore as well, don't they?
But
it takes a while to get everyone through the Rubicon Primaris. There's a queue.
If the Black Templars releases anything to go by, you've got to assume that's what all the big chapters are getting now, right? For this, their next books, right?
They kind of
just get on with it. Come on, stop that Custodes character, if you can call it that. That came in a box set.
But they love mining the nostalgia as well, right? It'll be fine. But yeah, Baz Amphiaros on social media. Got some exciting news about Barry coming up very soon as well. But yeah, this is
it's amazing how bloody smooth he gets the green stuff.
Yeah.
I just don't get it.
He's a very patient man.
Yeah, because those
green stuff wizard.
The feathers on the Aquila stuff, it's not easy.
Nah. I spoke to him about that. Like that was one of his biggest learning curves was sculpting the Aquilas on his models. Yeah.
I'd rather paint one.
And I think he's given it to David Perryman to paint.
Ah, cool.
Ooh.
So that'd be an interesting thing.
Yeah, so Baz has been sort of working on a bunch of very cool sculpts, and he's been sort of handing them out to sort of well-known good painters. And you'll have seen, I hope you'll have seen Andy's paint job on Baz's Lehman Russ, which is over on our Patreon this month. It's really cool seeing that sort of community collaboration, isn't it, between between it. Yeah, you did a lovely job on it. I mean, I told you that off air, but you've done on air. You've done a lovely job on that, mate.
Thanks, mate.
I reckon Baz will be well chuffed with that.
I'm sending it to him for Christmas this week. So
that'd be nice. You can spend the holidays gluing it back together.
And touching up my dodgy paint job as well. You can
paint in the back of it. Yeah.
I said if there's any bits you don't like, feel free. You can paint the back.
But was there any reason, Matt, that you picked Dante in particular?
I think it's just like you said, it's the culmination of everything he's done this year, and I just think this is like you can see from like some of the stuff he did in January how much he's progressed in sculpting already. And
there's more work on this as well, isn't there?
Yeah.
A lot, yeah.
And getting those complex curves on like the thighs and the knees and on the shins is difficult. I wouldn't even know how to start that.
And he's took advantage, hasn't he, of that, the thing we've seen with the Primaris models, with them being sort of correctly proportioned. There's a lot more movement in the torsos now, isn't there?
Yeah.
Upper
torsos. And he's done that. It's cracking job. So I think that's it for our sort of joint best ofs, as it were. What's up next, Matt? I think, did we pick a couple of releases? Yeah, a couple of standout releases this year. And I've no idea what these are, so let's have a look. Oh, yes. Great choice. Who did this one?
It's me.
Fucking great choice.
I just think I really want to buy this. Yeah. And it's so many monies. I just think it's incredible. And the only reason I haven't bought it is because I bought one of his other dragons for many pounds
4 years ago.
and I haven't touched it. But I'm still tempted. If it goes, there's 10 left, I'm buying it.
Oh, I know, right. So this is Karol Rudik. It's been around for a long time now, right? Was one of the sort of OG third-party sculptors, I guess, sort of referred to them as.
Well, the Dragon Man.
The Dragon Man. Right? What's he up to now? 6?
Or more, I think. He's actually hammered them out.
Is it?
There's 4 of these.
He's released 3 this year, hasn't he? 3 or 4 this year?
4 of these, and then he's done like 4 or 5 more than like other random ones.
Right.
I think he's released this year alone 3 or 4 more dragons.
No.
Yeah. Because the other one I was going to pick is the one up against the wall.
The one coming through the
the
window.
The box art's in orange.
Yeah.
That I was like, oh, this one. But I think I prefer this one because of the little girl.
It's a little bit more original, isn't it? As well, this one. This is Carol's take on what a dragon.
Yeah.
Looks like not your typical.
It's a real nightmare thing, isn't it? And I love
absolutely.
Yeah.
But
I'd love to see people do artwork based off this as well.
God, yeah. He's done loads of good releases this year. Did a Kickstarter with the bugs. He's also because he's hiring other sculptors to do this, but he's working on a trad sculpt forest dragon at the moment.
Oh yeah,
yes.
I'm really interested in seeing that. But yeah, still a brilliant producer. Like loads of good figures, the best dragons you can buy. I mean, I don't want to badmouth, but when people look at this, the GW dragon comes out, and I look at this and I go, "You're taking the piss." Right.
They've certainly gone very different directions now, haven't they?
Let's leave it there. Let's leave it.
Great choice. Yeah. Well done, mate.
So next up is
Bellicore. So your lad came out. We had that mad flurry, didn't we? Sort of summertime-ish when we got those books for the tail end of the last edition of Age of Sigmar, and we got a bunch of some classic Warhammer characters getting what do you call it? Glowed up. I think that's the correct term.
Yeah,
proper glow up.
Yeah. Great choice. Yeah. And have you specifically picked fantasy Be'lakor here?
Well, which one is it?
That's got,
because he hasn't got the dead space machine.
So
yeah. No lieutenant. Didn't they say it's a new lieutenant model?
Yeah.
That's my career.
Darren Latham sculpt, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. I think he said this was his favourite thing he's ever sculpted.
Really?
I mean, talk about double threat. Like, Darren was always known as an amazing painter, but he can sculpt this now. You what? Like, this is your sculpting ability, and you're one of the best painters ever. What's his open category entry going to be?
Yeah, what's it going to be, right? I thought it was interesting. We saw Teclis, Croak, Kragnos, and Be'lakor. I think they were the 4 biggie models that we got.
Teclis
over that period, and I think the other 3, and obviously Kragnos was brand new. They were very very different, right? They were very Age of Sigmar. They were very, whereas even Croak, right? It looks absolutely nothing like the old mummified frog. Whereas this, I mean, obviously he's got the nods, right? But it's a hell of a long way away from the old.
This
model.
Is closer to old fantasy.
This you could stick on a square base, right? And it would not look out of place.
This is an upgrade from the old fantasy rather than AOSified.
But I mean, I really loved the original Be'lakor model. I thought that was such a wicked take on a demon.
It's brilliant.
So I think there's a lot of pressure, though, isn't there? We said it before when they've redone characters like Mephiston, Abaddon, ones like that. There's a lot of pressure on those sculptors to get those iconic characters right.
I've seen people say the old Mephiston was better, and I'm like,
I think that's just nostalgia purposes.
Just these people I don't want to be friends with.
You just get the Mark Gibbons artwork and you just belt them around the face with that, right? And
I'm going to throw old Mephistons at you until you change them.
Have any of you seen this model in person?
Yeah.
If you look in my screen, there might be a little cheeky Be'lakor base. No?
Oh, really?
What's that on the corner there? That little plinth. I'm pointing with my mouse, but you can't see my mouse cursor. On the corner of my chair.
So I was going to ask, like, what's the wing situation like on it with all them chains?
Yeah, I wouldn't paint them.
Like, are they easy to clip off?
They glue them on, but never put it in a case.
Right. If people are still using foam cases for miniatures nowadays, like, get with the fucking times, right?
Yeah, it's not £99. Yeah. Or a lunchbox like Recon.
No. That's all right.
But yeah, they're not actually too bad. Like, if you glue them on and you've sort of scraped some of the paint off and actually got down to pure plastic, they're generally all right.
They're not going to break, but...
I was looking at it more from a painting point of view.
Yeah, I don't want to paint them.
Do they get in the way? Like, are they easy to leave off for that?
Yeah, I think they're easy enough to sub, but can you imagine doing those membranes?
I'd like to have a go at this mini. Like, I'm not like big minis don't always like blow me away, but I'd quite fancy. Like, I'd much rather have a go at this than say the dragon or whatever.
Dragon.
Give me Egrin Van Horseman next time round, please, thank you. And we can if Darren could do that would be wonderful.
We're gonna send him like a wish list.
Yeah.
Eldar, get on with it.
Next up is
what we got. Oh, the man, the frog himself.
I nearly bought this yesterday. I stopped myself. No, it was a weekend, wasn't it, Rick? I picked it up and was like, no, don't buy the frog. Oh, God, it's good.
It really is.
So good.
So big.
Who picked this one?
It's kind of like I put a few in. It's kind of like a group thing.
What an amazing year for Age of Sigmar monsters. I was like, I really want to paint a big monster just for fun, but also for that category in Golden Demon, and just can't decide between them. Bought Kragnos, bought Teclis. I was going to buy this on Saturday. It's still all amazing.
Be'lakor's behind you, so.
Yeah, but is Bellicor going on it?
Oh, I see.
It's not. It's Harriman.
Correct me if I'm wrong as well with this. It's very the bits that are around him. They're all around him, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's like within a sphere almost, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is basically a big swinging dick from Games Workshop with like, this is what we can produce as sculpts, right?
Fair play.
Yeah.
Really massive schlong on the lad.
You know, and it's supported by a couple of roots, pretty much.
No, it's that big rock on the left doing the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I did
very
that,
clever.
I know it's last year actually, but when I did that Necron character, whatever he's the Shard of the Catan, whatever it was.
Oh, bloody hell, that's old now.
That was a real like, blimey, like you're showing off here. Like
that was Darren as well.
How that's supported. I still keep thinking of Darren as like a relatively recent addition to the sculpting team, but he's not, is he? He's been around long time now.
Well, he did the Stern Guard in trad sculpt.
No way.
Which is not traditionally sculpted the Stern Guard. So.
Oh my god!
I think he's got either free up of one of those he posted a while back.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the only reason I have that knowledge, Matthew.
Yeah.
Nice bit of turquoise going on there as well.
Oh god,
A bit of turquoise.
I'd love to see this heavy metal paint job actually, because I bet it's stunning up close.
We've seen it.
I haven't.
I think that's airbrush.
Last time I went to Warhammer World, I saw it.
The whatever it is weird gyroscope thing.
Yeah.
What do you reckon? Airbrush or not?
Airbrushed?
No.
We would, because we're the meme from last week. But yeah.
The frog. Lovely stuff. Right, what's that next? Oh, lol.
With his giant cliff.
The old Lionel, gold Lionel.
Yeah.
Just
I don't really
monstrous,
know
isn't
what
it?
to say about Kragnos. I think we chatted about him quite a lot when he came out. I think, didn't we?
I love it.
You absolutely love it, don't you? I'm really glad they did him. But yeah, if you offered me Bellicor, Kragnos, or Croak, I think it'd probably be Bellicor.
Kragnos for me, no wings.
It's a tough one. But yeah, lovely to see an enormous kit, and he is a big boy. I had a game against him in the summer, and he stands up to one of them massive giant models.
I still want to do it. It just depends what comes out and when, if there's a Golden Demon. But I really want to do him, but other stuff's taking priority at the moment. But he's all built, ready. I really want to start him, but it'll take me a long time. So I need a Golden Demon ticket purchase.
That's the one of the downsides to all the new versions of these fantastic old characters all being absolutely fucking massive.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to paint them for a competition, like it's going to take some time.
But this was an and I get it because of like shipping delays and COVID and blah blah blah. I get there was a backup and stuff, but it was an insane couple of weeks.
It was.
Right. That
was
we got those.
The same week or something. Like
it was 1 week between Croak and Kragnos, I believe.
I mean, didn't they just randomly drop Bellicor like a week before that, or a week after?
I think he might have been 2 weeks. Like, but it's literally all within. Best part of a month.
I think they really tried to catch up with their release schedule and get it back onto like.
Well, I believe
so
it
they
had
could go ahead.
Yes, because it led into the new edition, didn't it? But yeah,
I liked when they came out. It was like we didn't see any like leaks or hints or anything. It was like boom.
Yeah, we had that little bit of artwork, didn't we? That cool little animation that they've done for a few of their releases. And everyone was like, oh, it's a Sylvaneth model, or oh, it's a Warriors of Chaos Centaur, or whatever. And they're like, nah, it's this crazy orange cunt. Like it's just
Breath of the Wild.
It's a god of destruction.
Yeah.
Very good. Nice bunch of picks then, Matt.
Where's Teclis, mate? Come on. Was that last year?
Was it the last year?
What?
Is he last year?
I don't know, but he's the best.
Yeah, maybe he is last
model
year.
Ever, so best Games Workshop model
I think he was last year. Was he late last
year?
Pajama
Man. Yeah.
Something. So next up is this was my one.
Terrible models.
I only picked it because this year has really been the year of the squig. There have been so many squigs.
Yeah.
It's been a bit crazy.
These the squig pigs.
Yeah.
God, you'd have to pay me a lot of money to paint these.
Well, I think as well, like you say, yeah, year of the squigs, and that automatically means it's been the year of the greenskins as well, hasn't it? I mean, the 40k range of orcs now is chef's kiss, if you like them. There's not many models in there that I wouldn't be more than happy to own and paint.
There's none I would paint.
I think the Beast Snaggers was an interesting sort of release. I don't think many people saw that one coming.
No.
But just the Commando set we got with Kill Team.
No, that was brilliant.
Just the normal Orc Boys set that they just casually dropped.
That was the crazy bit for me about it, because when the Beast Snaggers came out, I was like, oh, is this the traditional orcs? And then what was it, like a month or two later, they're like, oh, by the way, here's this start collecting that everything in it is new apart from like a Death Dread or whatever.
Yeah, that's brilliant, isn't it? And I like the there's two new war bosses? No, was there a Mega Nob or something?
Yeah,
there was a new war boss. And
there was a Beastie war boss, wasn't there? And then there was a Mega Armored boss.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
that's cool. So you could kind of go either way. That's like I just like how they're sort of going through and sorting the ranges out. Like Necrons, all brilliant now.
Yeah,
Orcs, brilliant. Yeah. It's really cool, and you hope that's what they're going through each race. And
I hope so. Yeah, I really, really hope so, because we said it for a long, long time. Like, there's been one of the biggest barriers, I think, to certainly when me and Andy have chatted, to starting certain army projects is going, there just isn't a consistent range of minis there.
Yeah,
there's minis that some with over a decade between them in some armies, and they just don't work. Why are you going to invest all that time? And it's not even saying they've got to be the brand new hotness, right? 6 months down the line, you can go back to orcs and go, brilliant, I can paint every model in this. Every model in this range, and it looks and it belongs together.
And you could miss out one or two old kits, but you need to have a solid core. But orcs have got two choices of boys, and then you've got the knobs. The knobs kits, not new, but it's modern enough. That's the balance. And the dreads are brilliant. And the cans, even though they're quite old, they don't need to be changed. But then you compare it to Eldar Guardians, Cadians, and you're taking a mix. Like, I'm not starting that army because of those core kits, right? But really nice to see the Orc having a vast and fantastic range, really.
Absolutely. Nice picks, Matt. And Squigs, Squigs are all.
Next up is...
speaking of Kill Team.
This was my fave of the year. For a multiple...
It's not a Space Marine, mate.
I know, right? What happened?
Come on.
For a couple of reasons. One, it was very unexpected. For years and years, a few of us have talked about, God, how good would it be if G-Dubs did plastic deathcore, but they're never going to do them. So,
And even then it was like, it'll be Steel Legion, right? If you were going to get any great coat guard, it's going to be Steel Legion, right? Yeah.
So that kind of gave me that was really unexpected but amazing when it happened. And it also dropped really randomly, and there was that piece of artwork, and there was just a gas mask.
Yeah,
and we thought Steel Legion still, didn't we?
Yeah, even then we thought Steel Legion, and then we saw them and we're like, oh my god, they've actually gone and done it. That, and then it just gave me a bit of hope that some of the older fluff wise and kit wise models were going to get a bit of love. Like, I mean, maybe not all at the same time, but like eventually. So in a similar way to the orcs, like when the new orcs came out, I thought they were going to be doing away with the old just orc boys, and they'd only be the beast snaggers. When that new, just before this, the Cadian models released, and they only got an upgrade sprue rather than a whole new kit, and things like that were happening. And then they dropped this, and I was like, because when I saw this, I just instantly thought, what if they do Vestroyans at some point? What if they do, Steel Legion? If they do all these different things,
you'd have to assume that should Kill Team be successful, that we'll see a new guard regiment right each time.
You would thought so, at some point, and also the kit is, more Krieg. And the thing, even if they don't ever do any more, like if they don't do a command unit or any of the riders or anything. It'd be amazing if they did, but even if they didn't, they've done this, and it's such a great, and also the options in it and the way it goes together. It's
very
just
versatile.
What
a game more though, really. Like they need, you can't tease us with this and not do a couple more things, right? Because you can get all the 4-job tanks, no problem. But I think you need the horses and you need the command groups. So
if they did them, it'd be amazing. But I don't know if they would. I
think for me, the artillery's a real visual thing for Krieg, right? It's that old style carriage artillery, right?
You can't fit. For me, you can't use these with the 4-year-old ones. Like no. I want all plastic. I'm happy with
the characters blend in well enough.
But
but not the. Yeah, you're right. Like these are. But again, we're talking about age between models. I mean, the Krieg models were sculpted over a decade ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a pretty special release, wasn't it? And I was going to say it again, the Commandos are fucking sick as well from this kit.
Yeah. What a great release, Commandos and these. I'm really glad that they did that with the Kill Team, that they kind of paid homage to some really great old kits that I remember. Because specifically when I was getting into the hobby, there was just something about the Krieg. The first time I ever saw Krieg on like a little muddy base, pulling like a heavy bolter behind.
Well, this is it. I mean, you're a big fan, aren't you? The old, historicals and that type of thing, treadheads. Yeah.
And this just tickles my pickle.
Yeah. Nice choice, mate. Glad you stuck these in there. Have we got any more?
We have one more.
Oh yeah, of course we do. My pick. So this one is, I picked this as my personal favourite because I think it should be in there, not necessarily because anything to do with it is my personal favourite stuff that they've done. It's got good memories to me. So I played my first game of fully painted AOS this summer, and that was using the orc half of this against a mate of mine, Ben, with a brilliantly painted Iron Jaws army, and we played up at Warhammer World, and it was great fun, lots of shouting and rolling sixes and stuff. So there's good memories from that point of view. But for me, I felt this was a really significant release from them because for quite a few reasons. Stormcast, Age of Sigmar was pretty poorly mismanaged. I think is generally accepted when it was first released, and there's been this idea of Sigmarines and calling them things like that, and there's no two ways about it, right? They you look at how popular Space Marines are. Everyone's got a Space Marine army, somewhere. They wanted something like that for the fantasy game, and you had the Stormcast, but I think they suffered from a lot of the common issues that we often talk about for reasons we don't like, models, proportions, all that sort of thing. And then they just sort of went, oh, okay, third time round, little tweaks, and now I get it. Now you've got these like Spartan-esque, heroes. You look at them, you get it. These are the good guys. These are your knights in shining armor type of thing, right? Wonderfully proportioned, and basically redid the entire range. It wasn't just a new kit. I mean, the dragons and things aside, right? If you just stick purely to the basic, we've said this before, like if the basic troop of an army looks good, you're on to a winner.
They look amazing in the basic troops.
If you're a gamer that's also a keen hobbyist, I would say, if you give a shit about what the stuff looks like. So that was one of the reasons I felt like this was quite important, that now, GW's mainline fantasy game, I feel like it's found its feet a bit, like it knows what it is. You had the incredible artwork from Thomas on the cut book in this, the rule book in this. We were lucky enough to work with Thomas on a few pieces before GW snapped him up, and it's been amazing to watch him come in and what he's achieved for them. And then the other side of the box was this completely different, or I say different, this new take on a very old style of GW greenskin. There was the usual flapping gums about they don't look like GW orcs, but you look at orcs from the 80s, these are a perfect homage. And I love the nostalgia, I love the artwork, the planche artwork, all of that. And these orcs dive into all of that old artwork and sculpts in every single piece of them, basically. And and I just that little bit more serious looking, but they've still got that horrible bit of dark humor. This for me was this, like, Age of Sigmar had arrived, like, for me. All of a sudden I didn't miss the old world for a bit.
Yeah,
I still do, and I'm still looking forward to when that comes out. But this is the Age of Sigmar I want to play in. And hobby in. And I had a lot of fun painting them. So it's
It's also amazing that this is a starter set, or like the sprue with all the characters are on one sprue, whatever. But that honey badger, the fact you get that in this starter set, it's unreal. I mean, I bought a set where the killer can was cardboard. Bought the set where you got some all right Terminators. Battle for Skull Pass when you had all those goblins, which is very comparable. And it doesn't feel that long ago. And then you're getting that honey badger model, which is unbelievable. It's a standout kit in the whole thing. I think the standard Stormcast, because they finally got proportions right, and they're fantastic, not goofy. And then the honey badger, unbelievable, really. Just crazy set. Brilliant. I wouldn't do either of these arms. So bad. When, do you remember the first time you saw a side by side, old versus new? I was like, oh my god! And it was the same effect as seeing a Primaris next to an old.
My internet dropped.
Oh.
He's back. But yes, when you saw the Primaris against an old Marine, and when you see a Stormcast against the old Stormcast, I think the craziest thing is Stormcast aren't old. And I like how they've not admitted it, because they haven't admitted anything, but they're prepared to almost redo a range that's new.
I think we said that, didn't we? When the box dropped, we sort of talked about just that. Good on them for going. We didn't quite get it. They changed it a lot for the second edition. They go, that wasn't quite, and then boom, this is this is just a big fan. So that's why it's my sort of release of the year, even if it's not necessarily my favorite models of the year.
Here's a question: do you think this is better than Indomitus?
I think it's more significant than Indomitus.
Agree.
Indomitus is interesting. Like, you've never really had the thing with fantasy, and I'll lump this in with Warhammer Fantasy, right? Because it's GW's fantasy game. Right? We've never really had it where it was always the same protagonist in every box. Whereas we have with 40k, right? It's always been the Space Marines and someone else. And the someone else has always played second fiddle to the Space Marines. Whereas with Age of Sigmar, there's because it's that new game, and because there's so many other armies, that the prevalence of Stormcast isn't there to the same degree that Space Marines are. So you remember I said earlier, everyone's got a Space Marine army knocking around somewhere. Well, actually, a lot of Sigmar players don't have any Stormcast at all. Don't want anything to do with it. So their antagonists for those three editions have been Chaos with Khorne, then it was the Nighthaunt for Death, and then it's been the Cruel Boys for third edition. And they within themselves have been wonderful ranges of miniatures, and they've sort of been allowed to shine. Whereas I feel like whoever gets put in the box with the Space Marines, no matter how good they are, they're just not. They're not considered as much, right? Because the Necrons were brilliant, right? Really great. But what do you think of from that kit? The Primaris Chaplain, the Assault Intercessors. Those are the models you think of. What about you?
Well, I think this is so much better. You've just got way more unique things in there. Like, the Indomitus box was cool, but you've got Necron Warriors, their new Necron Warriors. Some more Primaris, all right, cool. Some easy fit bikes that no one can fill the gaps on.
Whereas this, every single model is new.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's just a different feel, and it's almost. I mean, it's fine. It doesn't make a difference to me, and I get it. But it's almost a shame that the love of 40k overshadows AOS so much. Because look how good this set is.
I'll tell you what this set looks like to me as well. Like a shitload of work's gone into it.
Yeah.
Like nothing's been dialed in here, right? Phoned in rather.
Nah.
Like there's a lot of care and attention, right? Oh, they really are. They really are.
The stab grot. You got 3 HQs in there. What?
If stab grot doesn't win their model of the year thing, I think that'll be
it's the crab, mate.
Oh, so of course, it's the crab, isn't it?
Yeah. Get a grip. Crab, or the crab number 1, followed by the chameleon. Stab grot.
Crabnos, yeah.
Nice. But yeah, go honey badger.
Yeah. So that was my pick. So that was some good picks there, chaps. I think all our favourites were G-Dub. Is that right? Which is quite. But then all our favourite paint jobs were nearly all non-G-Dub.
I did the Carol Ruddick, didn't I?
think.
Yeah,
you did. Yes, you did. Of course, yeah.
I knew there'd be too much G-Dub, so I made sure.
Yeah, really, just great to see. Again, in spite of everything that's been going on, an immense year.
What a year for releases!
For releases, but and also I think seeing the work of the top end guys as well. I think there was a bit of caginess with last year, weren't quite sure, and then obviously this year it was like, "Oh, sod it, we need to share our work." Even if it has to just be virtually.
I'm so glad we do this hobby during these last 2 COVID years, because how many people do you know that are going out their minds, and we're all right.
Yeah. I am so pumped, though. So pumped to go to some events and to go to some shows. Just to see these models. Again, I was talking on the Heresy podcast the other night. A lot of models are painted to be seen in person, or to be seen in situ, or to be seen en masse, right? They're not painted to be seen on Instagram. Right? Yeah. And you miss a lot of the impact from them on that. And I personally, I feel I'm getting a bit jaded with it. I need to see some models in person again for a bit. Just to freshen it up. Yeah. I'm sure it will all come good in 2022. Right, Matt, have you come back in, or have you still dropped out? You're back. Lovely.
I'm hoping I don't think it dropped out for too long.
Right.
So we're on to just quickly our personal favourites.
Right.
So first up.
Yeah.
Who's this?
It's me.
Very nice.
Yeah, it's another Kirill. It's amazing. If you want to look at one bit, then look at the sword that's painted on the chest plate.
Yeah. That reflection, eh?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Actually, my favourite bit's the little circular ball bit in the middle of the shield. I like that metallic. But this makes me want to paint this sort of thing, so that's why it's in there.
Nice.
So I think we already talked all the same points with his last piece. So
just great he's not stopped, eh?
Here's 2 Kirills. Enjoy. Ta-ra.
So next up, I think we've talked quite a lot about the other favourites. This was yours, Henry?
Yeah. So sorry, I thought So that's why I picked it as my personal favourite, because I thought it was quite significant.
That's yours, Henry.
Yeah. Rich, I think this was yours.
Very good.
Yep.
And
I want to paint some Krieg, man. When are they going to bring them out as individual boxes?
Mine.
Oh, nice. And this is yours. Right. So there we go. Oh, that was a nice, quick segment, and what a lovely one to finish on as well. And Lucas Peen is something else, isn't
he? Yep. Can't wait to paint that one.
Feel quite fortunate to be around with him dropping stuff, if that makes sense. Like it's quite exciting.
Yeah. I'll paint at least one Peanut in 2022. That's just a little.
You bought Bullsaurus this year, didn't you? Is that this year?
I painted Bullsaurus, which was my first paint one I've done. I've got to build up the guts to do the Wise Woman, which is my favourite he's done. So yeah, I've got to build up the courage to do that this year. But I haven't got an idea for it. Anyway, moving on.
Nice. Well, I hope everyone enjoyed that little look back on what's been out this year. Obviously, it's just a little snapshot And it's some of it we could go on for hours and hours, and we do off air, constantly sending each other our favourite things. But we try to bring you a variety of stuff out there. And speaking of sort of looking at a variety of models, there's a hashtag associated with the show, hashtag paintcultists, on all the social medias, predominantly Instagram. If you want a hashtag to follow that's going to expose you to a real breadth of different painting styles, miniatures companies, miniatures from different companies, check it out. And all I do each show is I look through the hashtags and I just pick out a handful that jump out to me, and I just share them with the guys, and we have a little natter about them. So I think I picked out not so many this time. We did a bit of a gargantuan run through on the last show, but there's thousands and thousands and thousands on there now to go and look at. So it's good. It's a good little tag to follow. So let's fire them up, Matt. Let's rattle through them. So wicked paint job, and of course it's 20 years since the first Lord of the Rings film. I think possibly we touched on that on the last episode, because obviously we're filming this not that long after the last one. But yeah, just always challenging when you've basically got one colour on a model, right? And a deliberately simple base as well, or quite drab base. But yeah, you talking about wanting to do some Pina model in 22. I am 100% going to do a couple of the newer Lord of the Rings sculpts.
I'm definitely not.
Real hankering. See, and that's why we can bring you such a variety.
Yeah, get the magnifying glass out, Steve.
Yeah, if you want.
Now the newer ones are a bit bigger, bud. You're all right.
Are they? Oh, okay.
Don't worry.
If they did large scale, I'd do Lord of the Rings, and I'll say no more. 75 mil, I would do it, but these too bloody small.
This is Paul Bradley. Love the job, Paul. I particularly like the sword, actually. Just this was another little kick up the backside to go, right, you really do need to press buy on that basket you've had sat on Forge World for a while.
Do you know,
it's a Forge World.
This is a G-Dub one, but
I looked at I think I looked at it as what I really want to paint for Lord of the Rings. Some of the scenery, the Rohan house, it's amazing. Or the Lake Town house on the little stilts. I really want
that. Lake Town house won a bunch of awards.
Did it?
For like fantasy sculpts? Yeah.
Wow.
I really want it now.
It's really good, mate. Let's do Warcry scenery from it.
Yeah, true.
Now just do the Warcry scenery. That's fucking rad in itself.
Yeah, if you can buy it.
If you can find it anywhere.
It's out of stock, pal.
Right. What's that next? This one really jumped out at me for obvious reasons, I guess. It's just
background's really clever, actually.
There's an artist called Pascal Blanche. I don't believe any relation to John Blanche, and I've followed him for a long time on socials. And the colours that Luke has painted here, he uses a lot in that artwork. And I was just thinking this week, it'd be cool to paint a mini using that palette. And then I saw this pop up in the paint cultist thing. Just creepy, cool, colourful. I'm loving all the backdrops we're seeing at the minute as well.
It's coming back
every week, right?
Matt, I've got a question for you. Has a piece with a backdrop ever won a Golden Demon? I don't think it has.
I don't think it has, no.
Another episode. Woo! Controversial.
Have people done backdrops on Golden Demons?
Yeah. Alfani did that unbelievable marine and it didn't get anything.
Oh, the one based off the
Ultramarine art.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
But not many people do enter them, so anyway.
That diorama of Matt's that we had on the other week. I know it's not on a backdrop plinth, but the way he'd used the scenery in that was very much like a backdrop, wasn't it?
Which one? Sorry, mate.
The turns round.
Yeah.
It sort of served a similar purpose.
True.
I think it's just fallen out of favour for a while, and it's coming back.
Nice.
It's on my next GD entry, so hopefully.
There we go. Backdrop takeover. But
if you don't win that, you can say that's why you didn't win. Don't like backdrops, otherwise in the bag.
Right, next up.
Yeah.
Oh, again, just some more weirdness. I've no idea. I've no idea what it's from. It's another backdrop. Pretty sure that's the plinth from
Is it Mindwork Games, the product? I think
that does ring a bell.
Yeah, I think it's Mindwork Games.
But again, one of the reasons I love this hashtag, I just keep seeing stuff I'd never normally sort of look at. And again, I love the backdrop on this one.
Yeah,
I'm glad I've done one now, so I feel like I'm in the club. I can talk about them like, I'm an expert.
But the backdrop on this actually, and on Luke's one, I like how they fit, how they've painted the model as well. Like this hasn't got the cell shaded so much, but it's got a bit of that to it, right?
Well, it's the softness, right? So because otherwise it doesn't work. So it's quite expertly done. Really, it's interesting, isn't it?
It's very cool, very very cool. And as always, all these accounts, guys, will be in the description below, so you can go and follow them and check them out. And I definitely recommend that you do. I think there's a couple more. Right?
Yeah, there's 3 more, and there's definitely a theme.
Jesus.
Go on, lad.
Finally, some Space Marines. Jesus.
Had to put this one in. Jared's a good mate of ours who has really applied and dedicated himself to improving as a painter over the last 2 years.
Pretty mental, isn't it?
And I think, he's handy. I think this is outstanding. I think this is the best thing I've seen him do by some distance. I just think it's just brilliant. I'd love it. I can't wait to see it when we next get over to Oz and visit. Love it. You probably like a bit of flesh tearers, don't you, Rich?
Yeah, that's awesome. I do like a cheeky flesh tearer.
Yeah.
It's really nice to see the. You can talk about skill or whatever, but I think the thing that's coolest is the ambition grow, because you get someone who's painting a heresy army or painting a marine, but just no matter it's a very high level, it's done amazingly. But I just think seeing the ambition change is really cool.
Well, and learning composition is a real challenge, isn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Developing composition.
It's hard. It's hard work. Done a backdrop. Done this. Just got. That's like if I wanted to have a go at that, you'd be like, bloody hell, here's a lot of work. So
it's a lot of work, right, to see that through. There's a lot of steps in that as well, where I reckon you could have given up on it.
Yeah.
Very impressed.
Really good work.
Very impressed. So couple
Next
more.
Up.
Are we out of backdrops now, though?
Yeah, we're out of backdrops.
I thought this was really cool.
Yeah.
Maybe because he's got a little, because he's got a little critter on his shoulder. Yeah, Neanderthal man.
That's what I used to like.
I just and I like the painting style on it as well. It's just a bit different.
Yeah.
Quite soft, I guess.
Yeah.
Just I don't know. There's just such really a lot like that bust that Nemorian did with the bird with a goat on her head. There's 2 of these. I don't know. They just really stood out to me the last couple of weeks. And that's a happy little dinosaur there.
So happy, it's unreal. I love it.
But that's Lucas Pena sculpt, right?
Yeah.
Again, popping up several times in the show,
and I think people paint them, innit?
Yeah, definitely.
People really do paint them.
Yeah, big time. Like I say, I'm very casually follow the larger scale stuff, largely through our Paint Guys hashtag, really. But I'm always seeing his stuff pop up.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm seeing a lot more busts pop up than large scale figures over the last sort of 12 months.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
I don't know why. I don't know whether there's just more of them. I think 3D printing has certainly helped that. We spoke last week about there being some Breaking Bad characters. I saw a Kevin Costner bust pop up today on one of the creates. But it seems to be, I guess maybe because you can create a really cool mini, but you only have to create a small area of it, right? A small portion of it.
Which is the important bit, the face. So.
Yeah, but also I guess it means you can get an idea out quick, right? Or within a decent time frame. And you can also paint it and complete it within that sort of realistic time frame. Or you can spend forever on it if you want to. But yeah, really nice. So what's the last one up, Matt? More vampires.
Well.
I don't know if we'd featured this account a few shows back, but I feel like we'd seen a yellow vampire And again, it just jumped out to me just seeing it in different. So I particularly like the skin on this one. I think it's really cool on the face. Lovely rusted swords. Just right up my street. This one.
Just well done for doing it in yellow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Everyone paints them red or blue or black.
Yeah.
Or just or not flat, right? As well.
Yeah.
Like it's real cool.
Oh, the black. I think the black's lovely on the cropped cloth.
Close it out with a vampire. So that's as I said, that's just a little snapshot of the thousands of models you can go and check out on the hashtag Paint Cultist. So that brings us to the end of tonight's show, and that brings us to the end of 2021's shows. We're gonna have a little break. We've got some very exciting news coming up about where we're taking the show in 2022.
Big places.
And we will obviously be sharing that with you guys very, very soon. But I've thoroughly enjoyed the last show, the last year. You know, we made it. It was a couple of weeks where we were all a bit busy, and we were like, "Can we get it done?"
Yeah.
So, I think on the whole, I'd say, pat on the back. I think it's gone pretty well.
Yeah, I love it. Last 2 episodes have been really fun, and I love it's nice to just chat, isn't it? Especially reflecting on the whole year, just chatting. It's a good bit of positivity, I think. So, well done.
That's been great. It's been great, and thanks ever so much to everyone who's watched the shows, everybody who's left comments, and everybody's got in touch to sort of say they've enjoyed it, what they'd like to see more of. We've taken all of that on board. We ignored some of it, and then decided to do some of the other stuff. We're very excited for 2022. The intentions with the show is to keep it nice and regular, and the vast majority of the shows will be live for everyone to watch live before they can watch the back, whether they want on YouTube. We'll just do the occasional pre-record one where we tend to just invite the Patreon crowd in, just because it's nice to have a few people to have a nap with and point some things out when we get them wrong, if and when we do. Andy, Matt, Rich, thank you ever so much.
Thanks, chaps.
Been a wicked year.
Cheers, fellas.
Been some absolute belters of the shows. It's one of the few times I've actually gone back and watched things I've recorded or done and not cringed my way through. It's really nice to watch a few of them. I'm very, very excited about what we've got coming up for next year. So thanks ever so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
Ciao.
Happy Christmas.
No.